Ban ban ban! Welcome to Deeper State, where I dive into the grand scheme of things. 1922. Walter Lippmann writes his famous book Public Opinion. A few years before, he's on this Committee on Public Information, essentially a proto-propaganda agency, created specifically to gin up support for World War I. He is so good at it, he becomes instrumental. He quickly realizes how manipulable the public is, how quickly people surrender to compelling narrative. Later in his book, he cites this famous passage from Plato's Republic that describes human beings as cave dwellers, watching their shadows on the wall and taking that to be their true reality. Our present is barely different. We are locked in a cage of media bias and we take those pictures to be the reflection of what's actually happening. And that's 1922. There's no CNN, there's no MSNBC, there's no Rachel Maddow. Ban ban ban! Now, present day. Ryan Holiday in his famous book Trust Me, I'm Lying explained, there are thousands of bloggers online looking for things to write about. They must write several times a day, it's their full-time job. They use comment sections, press releases, Facebook, Twitter, anything to develop their stories. Let's call them Tier 1. Above them are hundreds mid-level publications and blogs. Let's call them Tier 2. Politico, BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Atlantic. They use those Tier 1 bloggers below them to develop their stories. Above them are major national publications, television stations, and newspapers. Let's call them Tier 3. They in turn use them to develop their stories, to use their scoops and bring it to a national level.
So Politico.com has from Politico.com today. Politico reports tonight.
Rachel, I wanted to grade you a long time ago. For artistic performance, an absolute A. But for actual reporting, I was just gonna give you a D. But then knowing you may not in fact like the D, I have this C for you. Keep digging. Ban ban ban! It's bloggers informing bloggers informing bloggers. Information filters up as easily as it filters down. Later in his book, Ryan explains, if you see we're hearing reports, know that reports could mean anything, like Twitter mentions. If you see official or leaked documents, know that leak means somebody just emailed the blogger. And documents are usually fake or fabricated in order to make the information public. Ban ban ban! In Federalist 63, Madison warns us of what we call today fake news. He calls it artful misrepresentation by interested men. He was very explicit in addressing the Constitutional Convention, saying that ill-informed, misled voters will become the tool of opulence and ambition, in which case their individual liberty and property will not be secure in their hands. They warned us and we're not listening. Ban ban ban! This was Deeper State. I'm your host Dan. Please follow, subscribe, and I hope to hear from you in the comments.